Innovative solutions to chronic joblessness, safety concerns on Milwaukee County Transit System buses, and generating revenue with city light poles? This is Council Rewind, and I'm Dustin Weiss. They say money doesn't grow on trees, but apparently it can come from light poles. Later in the program, how the city of Milwaukee is monetizing its infrastructure to offset property taxes through the Milwaukee Civic Partnership Initiative. But first, in an economy where it takes a job to learn new skills and skills to get a new job, what hope is there for the chronically unemployed? A joint venture between the mayor and the Common Council that's entering its second year, the Compete Milwaukee program seeks to provide transitional jobs to disadvantaged city residents. 113 participants were given temporary jobs with the city last summer in areas that included construction, demolition, landscaping, and policing, in the hope that the experience would better qualify them for other opportunities. And as organizers reported to the February 24th meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee, even bigger things are in store for this year.
As you know, we've been working through what a comprehensive transitional job program would look like for the city of Milwaukee. And if you take a look at your file and the presentation that's about to come before you, this is what that comprehensive transitional job program looks like, or what it can look like. A lot of the components of this program has actually been part of a learning process of implementation, listening to experts, listening to the community and identifying where some of the shortfalls have been in the implementation process of a program like this. And we've gotten to a point where there's a realization of what for Milwaukee this pipeline can look like and what it should look like and the types of things that it can accomplish. There are also a couple other components that's a part of this that I think connects with the leadership that Alderwoman Coggs and Alderman Wade was pushing in the last budget with trying to have a person on staff here working with the community, trying to identify what the opportunities are in the community. So we would have a Compete Milwaukee liaison that would actually work with that person so that as they identify people, there is a direct connection of a pipeline, a path that you connect people to after they've been identified, after you've worked with the community, identify what the needs are, and so that there's a team of people that's working to fulfill these needs. And this team has been absolutely wonderful at addressing the problems as they come up and then creating a quality work experience. And I know, there's been a lot of criticism about the number of jobs, and I'm on that side too. I think we can do more. But one of the things that we have been able to stay committed to is the quality of the work experience that we're trying to give the folks that commit themselves to this process, that on the other side of this work experience, there's actually real opportunities for them because you've picked up real experience and real skills.
I mean, this is a program that we did execute last year, and why don't you talk about the changes?
All right.
Or additions.
Okay, very good. I'll start with the Compete Milwaukee Builds. So the Builds is a partnership with the Department of Community Development and Northcott Neighborhood House, and it gives Compete Milwaukee alumni who are interested in construction and deconstruction and basic home renovation an opportunity to earn industry-specific certifications, hands-on and classroom trainings, and prepare them for opportunities in construction, green, water, and energy sectors. In addition to that, this year we have the Running Rebels Pipeline to Promise program, which will assist in providing young adults ages 19 to 27 with 10 weeks of job training and on-the-job work experiences. The third edition is the Career Plus coordinators in several MPS high schools, which will be using a career pathway approach to link work experiences, coursework, career exploration, and youth apprenticeships to post-secondary education and employment. So those are the three additions. As highlighted earlier, we still have the MPD Ambassador Program, which was a great success. We still have the community work partnerships, the transitional jobs through UMOS and Employ Milwaukee. And we also have the Compete Milwaukee Liaison.
So overall, we do actually expect an increase in total participants in the program for 2016.
Correct.
With some of these additions, which we were not necessarily anticipating in last year's budget, but we've been able to bulk it up since the budget was approved.
Correct.
And do you have any anecdotes or data on last year's workers and private job placement or effect we've had?
I do, yes. So last year there were 113 program participants, and there's a bit of a lag in the data in how we verify employment. However, one thing that we have done is continue to touch base with what we call our Compete Milwaukee alumni, provide them with employment opportunities, and through some of the reporting, either through verifications of employment or just individuals who left the program or in follow-up said that, yes, I am indeed working. There's over 32 individuals that are working of the 113 placed.
And you're not, the others, we just don't know, or they're still, can they cycle back through the program? What are our policies on that?
No, so
Okay.
you can participate in the program once.
Mm-hmm.
The others are a part of our network. We continuously provide outreach to them to support them, to connect them to available resources. We provide a large number of employment opportunities as we expand our ability to continue to support. We're continuously reaching out to different community resources so that we can say, here's a job coming up, there's a job fair, here's a new employment opportunity.
And do you have any data on how many of those 32 might be working for companies that are also supported by, the RPP or the SBE requirements on public works projects or other city contracts?
There are, through the partnership with WRTP, Big Step, they made some employment referrals and created opportunities for Compete Milwaukee workers to be placed in with Dewey Metals, who's a subcontractor on the Northwestern Mutual project. There were 6 individuals hired for that. In addition, there were 5 individuals hired at Harley-Davidson. As far as additional RPP, one thing that we did with our 2014s is some of those that were not working, opportunity came up and they were placed with the Department of Public Works and Electrical Services. So that was, I believe, 12 individuals.
I think we're creating something that I think other municipalities are already looking at. We're having a very intentional conversations with the county and the resources that they're putting into workforce in their programming, so that we know that we're all servicing the same community, we're servicing the same neighborhoods. We have to be real intentional about what that impact is with these employment opportunities that we're creating.
I mean, I'm sure there's getting 137 people to want to participate is not a problem, but you still want to make sure everybody out there who might want to participate knows about it. So what are we doing to make sure everybody is aware of this opportunity coming up this year?
Absolutely. We're working with our program partners. Currently, UMOS is sending referrals to me, and they're running through the pre-placement requirements. Any individual that doesn't meet the eligibility requirements of the UMOS program can be referred to the 3-month accelerated program. And in part, that's what it was designed to do. So UMOS is currently accepting candidates for the 6-month program. So anyone interested can contact UMOS and be directed from there.
So UMOS would be the key contact?
Correct.
The $1.8 million spending plan for Compete Milwaukee passed with the unanimous support of the full council. While they may be commonly referred to as city buses, public transit through Milwaukee is actually operated and funded by Milwaukee County. Safety and security issues aboard the buses have traditionally fallen under the jurisdiction of the county sheriff. But at an unusual meeting of the city's Public Safety Committee, a group of county transit workers appealed to the city of Milwaukee for protection that they say isn't being provided by Milwaukee County.
It could have been, it's very easy to say, Milwaukee County transit system, and just simply by saying county, the city of Milwaukee can say, you know what, we're going to wash our hands of this. And I'm grateful that, as the agenda says, that communication relating to multi-jurisdictional efforts to improve safety on our bus system, because we're all in this together. And we heard in the last two discussions about the fact that it's other levels of government that are supposed to be working together. And so the genesis of this item is the fact that I have heard from drivers who don't feel safe. They are, in essence, sitting ducks, if you will, in our buses, okay, and primarily our city of Milwaukee bus routes. And so I'd like to yield the floor to the gentleman on my left. He'll introduce himself and proceed.
Good morning. My name is Herbert Forbes. I am the safety chairman for Local 998 Union. The reason we're here because, yes, indeed, we don't feel safe on the bus. The buses have not been safe. I've been with the company over 20 years. It's not been safe since that time, and I'm going to show here that it's even getting worse in the past 5 years. Recollect my first incident that I can recall, which was about 20 years ago. I just want to give you a little brief overview of what's been going on. On the Route 54, there was a driver that was viciously stabbed just in front of the station on Kinnickinnick. The reason he gave for stabbing the bus driver was because the bus driver took time out to go use the restroom. This individual was never charged because he pled insanity. And so, that just shows a pattern. It's the beginning of a pattern where people that are viciously attacking the drivers never get prosecuted. If we fast forward to the year 2010, there has been a rise in violent crimes against drivers under the regime of our Director of Safety, Mrs. Julie Schneider. In 2010, while driving the route number 76, Mr. Earl Herring was savagely beaten and subsequently ran into a tree. This incident was while under the regime of Whacking Hut. This guy also had to do early retirement. Around that same time, Ms. Billingsley, she was hit by a passenger in the face and subsequently ran into a tree. Nothing happened to the perpetrator. To bring you up to speed, on the Route 12, we have 3 incidents currently just this past summer under the regime of Mrs. Julie Schneider. On the Route 12, Mr. Rowe, during this past summer, was viciously beaten while at the downtown transit center. On his layover, he was using the restroom. There was an individual that works at that downtown transit center that said that the cameras, the county owns that building down there, the cameras haven't worked in over 20 years. So this individual was beaten so bad that he probably will not be able to come back to work because he's had over 2 brain surgeries. And so he's probably gonna be out of service. You probably heard of the last case on the Route 12 involving Mr. Bates, where he was assaulted by 3 different people in the middle of the road there with the Route 12. He was forced to take an early retirement. I went to court with that individual, and none of the people that were involved in that assault to Mr. Bates were prosecuted to date.
We have reached out to the police, and they did a good job for a moment, and we asked them to, at least, get on the bus and, see what's going on. You doing, route patrols, step on the bus, see what's going on. Ride a couple blocks, get off a couple blocks down the road. Just let the public see that you're gonna be out there. And it happened for a little while, but now it's non-existent. I got a cousin work for the police department. We brought up about, putting the flashes on. When the driver put the flashes on, they're saying they're having problems on the bus. You have police just drive past. I understand they might be going to another call, but what's wrong with getting on the radio and saying that, can we have somebody find out what's going on at a bus? Our problem with our security is Judy Snyder, as we keep saying, is a joke. We have this police force task that we have with the county. The problem is our security is a joke. They're here right now. They're a joke. Right now, the people don't respect them. They call them rent-a-cops. And they call them rental cops because our security has their hands tied. I don't even believe that they even have enough staffing.
And is there a representative from Sheriff's Department here?
Mr. Chair. Yeah, that was going to be my question. Who really has jurisdiction over these Milwaukee County buses? Again, in my days too, I rode it from time to time, but I believe it's really falls under the Sheriff's Department, and I'm glad you asked for them, and looks like they're not here.
Well, excuse me if I could intervene. You're right. The sheriff do have the jurisdictions, and as you know, that I have conflicts with him. And the county executive and our sheriff, I'll put them in the closet, and neither one will come out. I'll be happy. I'm saying they don't have to do anything to each other, but I can keep the closet locked. But that's the facts. Yeah, they have, everything we have on the bus is county ordinance. The police is only could do so much because of county ordinance, but the presence would do a lot.
So has the Sheriff's Department's presence on the buses been requested, and what has the response to that been?
Well, anytime you got the sheriff saying he's not going to give security to the President of the United States, what you think he going to do for a bus? We got the safest parks in the world, though. But the buses...
But has a formal request been made to them to do that? Do you know?
Yes, it has, but right
Maybe
now
not
we
done
can't
it.
afford a sheriff when he wants to charge, five sheriffs, $10 million, But like I've been telling the county board, why do you have to pay the sheriff to do his job?
I can tell you for 2015, we actually had 21,386 bus checks that were logged into our CAD systems from officers across the city. So approximately 58 checks were done a day. Year to date so far, we've had 3,897. I know in the neighborhood task force, we have the motorcycle unit, the tactical enforcement unit, basically the specialty units in the department are under in that division.
Mr. Chair?
Alderwoman Cox?
What is a check inclusive of?
Basically, they go and they stop the bus either at an intersection and go and talk with the operators, see if there's any issues. There are times that the officers will ride for a couple of blocks. I know when I was the commander of District 1, we'd have officers that would ride for a couple of blocks on Wisconsin Avenue and some of the other routes just to, as they had stated, to make an appearance. Make sure that it was a good opportunity too for operators at that time. Maybe if they did have somebody that was on the bus that was causing an issue, someone that was riding the bus for free or things like that, then the officers could then take over and remove that person from the bus. Any type of dispatch calls that we do get for situations on the bus, we do handle those. We do respond to those. We don't refer them out to the Sheriff's Department or anything else.
Has this issue come to the county board?
Mr. Chairman, a few times, and I will tell you that it's like talking to a brick wall. Okay, we don't get the cooperation that these drivers deserve. Okay, plain and simple. And you can say, yeah, I dropped the ball when I was on the county board, and so now I'm here and I'm trying to maybe find another angle and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just one final, just wanted to clarify, Captain, you're a captain for the NTF, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. These numbers, though I'm assuming the 58 stops are not only the NTF, but all of the districts?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Puente.
And Captain, you did mention you're going to put it out on the roll call now to reemphasize with maybe some of the newer officers, the policy of the flashers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then to you guys, if you ask for help from any Milwaukee police officer and he and she does not respond, the answer that that guy gave you to go through is not appropriate.
No.
Okay. You get that squad number, you try to get a good look at that officer so you can identify him or her, and then Internal Affairs will take over.
The report was placed on file. In an era of doing more with less in government, many cities are looking for new and unconventional methods of funding city services. This led the Common Council to approve the Milwaukee Civic Partnership Initiative, which seeks corporate partners and sponsorships as sources of new revenue. On February 24th, the Finance and Personnel Committee heard the first such proposal, a partnership with Verizon Wireless.
This is initially proposed to be an initial 5-year term, followed by 4 automatic 5-year renewals. We do have the right to terminate any individual pole or the contract on a yearly basis with only 3 months' notice. The initial number of poles that we are considering using is about 51, although that number may increase. In fact, is pretty likely to increase. Each pole will generate a revenue of approximately $150 per month per street lamp. That's about $1,800 per year, which is paid annually by Verizon in advance, although if they do attach equipment to a new pole, that will be paid within 45 days to the city on a pro rata basis. Verizon is required to pay for the installation of a new street lamp to which they intend to attach their equipment, so we will be getting new street lamps, at least 51 of them. They'll be paying for electricity. The commissioner of DPW may approve or deny each individual installation, so we do have a large amount of control there. And Verizon must remove its equipment at the end of the contract.
And also, it's not an exclusive agreement, so we will have, the DPW commissioner will have the authority to negotiate future deals with other interested providers.
Absolutely.
And would those have to come back before this committee, future deals, or are we authorizing at this rate, all future deals?
It would be up to the discretion of the DPW commissioner, and basically this is the blueprint or the framework for moving forward.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman McConnell.
It was stated that at the end of the contract that Verizon, or if something happens, Verizon will have to remove the equipment. I'm trying to remember from the pictures I know I've seen of the poles that we are likely to use. Is the removal of the equipment in any way, are the poles still going to be functional with the removal of the equipment?
Yes. Verizon will be providing new poles in which they will...
I don't know if you identified yourself.
Yeah, Mike Lahr, DPW. Verizon will be providing new poles in which that the city will put our street lighting facilities on, and Verizon will be putting their small cell infrastructure on it, and we Energies will be bringing Energies to the small cell facilities. If in the future the small cell facilities are removed, it will be just a simple streetlight pole housed with the city streetlights on it.
So how significant will regardless of the money we're getting for the right, how significant from DPW's perspective is the free infrastructure investment, I suppose? You know, if we don't have to replace poles now, or we get new poles anyway. We'll have to replace them eventually.
Well, we are getting a benefit in new poles. Most of these poles probably don't need to be swapped out because of condition, but again, we will be getting a benefit of 50 brand new streetlight poles at no cost to DPW.
Right, so I mean, whatever there's...
What's the number?
Yeah, is there a way to put a number on that? Well, it's hard because it would depend. It'd be a huge cost savings if we were about to replace it, but most of these we wouldn't be replacing for a decade or two anyway.
Exactly.
So we're saving money for our successors.
Is there...
I do believe that Verizon intends to keep their facilities on these poles for the long term, so they're going to be providing poles. And we're working with the Verizon team as far as exactly what the poles will be as far as their structural significance and capabilities. So these will be beefier streetlight poles than we normally would put up there.
They're put up to our specs, not or to both specs. We have to approve them. They can't just put up a quick one.
There will be a standard streetlight pole that they will be providing to the city.
So we're not getting the cheaper version or
Absolutely
anything like
not. It would be a beefier
a better
pole.
version.
Yes.
And I just wanted to add, too, there'll be a backup supply of these poles, too. So there's going to be actually extra poles that will be provided at no cost to the city. And Preston Cole wanted to be here, but he's out on other business. But he did indicate to me that some of the poles are actually older poles. So it is a really good investment in terms of in-kind, the $250,000 that we'll get for the total 50 to 51 poles is really significant.
The poles that you're replacing that may be in good shape, can we reuse those?
Yes.
And does anyone know if we approve this, will Verizon have an increase to their users then? Will they pass the cost on to are people going to see a spike in their bills?
I'm not sure about that, but we actually do have a Verizon representative in the room. If Keith Nyman is
someone
here, if
answer
you
that?
want him to answer the question.
Sure. Come on up, please, and promise that no rates will ever go up.
Good morning, Keith Nyman, Verizon representative. As far as the rates go, it's pretty competitive right now. Everybody's actually trading in and offering whatnot. So I can't say, well, the rates will go up. What they're offering is better coverage.
With the Verizon equipment, I know other cities have done it and all of that kind of thing. Are there any potential health risk or implications for the public with so many of them in a concentrated area?
Everything's under the FCC guidelines. So there's RF emissions, RF radio frequency. It's within the FCC guidelines. It's not like a typical cell tower where you've got 5-foot antenna panels, multiple panels, but the proximity to a resident, business person, tourist, whatnot, you're typically going to be at about 35 feet away, which is significantly away from any RF exposure.
Thank you.
And Alderwoman Coggs, I'd like to submit a document for the record. It does emphasize that the FCC has safety guidelines on this technology. And as you know, we have traditional cell sites, and this document basically clearly states that small cell antennas like the technology that we're talking about actually is safer than the cell tower technology, even though that's deemed as safe as well under FCC guidelines.
The small cell technology is more localized in the way that they operate, and you compete, expanding capacity and on a local level, because I see a lot of these poles are kind of concentrated in a specific area as opposed to the large towers.
So what you're always triangulating. So when I said they have their networks established, so you've got 3 rooftop water tower, cell tower. You got a triangle. So now what they're doing is they're coming inside of that and putting it in central business district here. You're going every few blocks for capacity, street level, coming down to the 30-foot level. So there's such a demand because of all the devices out there being utilized, and in cars, in buildings, street level, that it's a capacity issue. The network can't support it. It's doing it, but it's with the more demands going on and the additional technology out there, it's just a demand on it.
And I think that this whole process really does show that the MCPI process works. I want to applaud the internal team, like, for going above and beyond the call of duty. There was a lot of research that was done on this issue, and the council president, Sarah Zarate, she really did do a lot of good research, and we had a lot of documents where we could go back and look at some of the information that she also provided in terms of verifying that the process is like, we basically did use superlative. Some of the documents kind of reinforced to me that it was a good idea to engage like superlative, so that you have like a third party that has no tie to a telecommunications company. So it's really been impressive to me that the concern of the team and how so many people really did want to look out for the interests of the city.
The proposal passed the full council on an 11-1 vote. And that's a look back at some of the important issues from the most recent Common Council cycle. For the City Channel and Council Rewind, I'm Dustin Weiss.